Hi everyone, I'm KKJ the Realist, and I'm going to be coming out of 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 10. For someone will say his letters are severe and forceful, but his bodily presence is weak and his speech is contemptible. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So basically, what this scripture is about in the book of Corinthians is when Paul is basically trying to teach the Corinthians. This whole chapter is about when Paul is trying to teach the Corinthians the correct way as real Christians should act, because the Corinthians are known for being very arrogant, very boastful, very sinful Christians. They're not what they're supposed to actually have a heart of pure, and they truly don't. And they just need some training, which a lot of us all deal with that. A lot of us all deal with falling short of God's glory. That's also in the Bible. We all fall short of God's glory, no matter how close we are to God, because we are human and we are born into sin. Which doesn't give us an excuse to be able to continue to sin in, because God always gives us a way out, which is also in 2 Corinthians. Also, it tells us that God gives us a way out from temptation when sin tries to follow us. But basically what this chapter is saying is what a lot of us deal with, young and old, but mainly for the young people. I'm gonna really get it to where we could understand. Like, I'm gonna use, high school or even junior high or even our young 20s, because some of us are even our late 20s. We still deal with that, to where the world and society have us feeling like we have to look a certain way or act a certain way to get respect or to get attention or to be respected by people. And I'm here to let the whole world know that it's backwards. It's going to take a lot of people. Some people is not going to agree with it. And some people's going to be like, what, for real? Like, it doesn't make sense. Because when I first studied it and I first learned it on my own, I was like, what? And sometimes I still be like, huh? Like, really, God? That's how it's like really supposed to be. And it takes time, especially when you're young, to kind of put that in your like spirit, your mind, that the way people have us believing that we have to act is not how we're supposed to act. So in this chapter, when the Corinthians was aiming at Paul, because Paul was an apostle for Jesus Christ, Paul was basically trying to raise up a church, trying to get the Corinthians to run church the proper way. And they seen Paul as all bark but no bite. They seen Paul as his physical looked weak, but his words was, bold and strong and everything like that. And that's how a lot of people look at a lot of us sometimes. Like, some people look at us like, oh, you know how us young girls be like, oh, she all about that mouth, but she don't got them hands. That's how we talk. Or he ain't about that, like, our little street slang that we use, or we used to use for some of us, little things that, we used to just, our little slang, like, how we use, like, we be vibing or we not vibing and stuff like that. Like, but the Bible talks about stuff like that, but he just put it in different wordings. That's why I feel like everybody should always, kind of, really get it, really get a Bible a chance. But let me get to the point. So I say all that to say this is that what the world had was believing is that the world had was believing that we're supposed to act one way, which is sometimes what we consider a savage, or we consider a bad chick, or we consider a bad girl or a bad boy. We always feel like, basically, some of us feel like nice girls finish last. And I'm here to say that's not the case. I know it might seem like that, but that's truly not the case. But I'm gonna really get into really explaining what I'm trying to come out as. So anyways, like, the way the world operates, we try to win things, we try to get things, we try to, grab things and gravitate to things like through worldly ways. Some of us feel like you can't be nice to get what you want. Some of us feel like you gotta be feisty. You can't be, you can't be too friendly. That's the kind of thinking that we have, and that's considered worldly thinking. That's not really how it's supposed to go. We're not supposed to feel like we have to take somebody else, or the main thing, feel like we have to be selfish to reach our success. That's not how that go, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's hard, because I even felt like I had to be like that, but that's not how that go, because at the end of the day, whatever God has for you, he has for you. Whatever God has destined for you, he's destined for you. Man can't come take it away. The devil can't come take it away. Now, I feel that he could possibly hinder you from it. I believe that the process could take longer if you, act in the wrong way. But I still believe whatever is for you is for you. But it's up to you. You have to have a made up mind to want to go after it. So what Apostle Paul and Corinthians have to do with this is the Corinthians would judge him saying, you don't, like, basically he didn't have an image that the world felt like he was supposed to have. A lot of people feel like that. Because if you looked at my video I did yesterday, it's called Overcoming Self-Image. And that's similar to what I'm ministering on today. Over my last video, please give it a try if you didn't, but my last video was basically trying to help young ladies as well as young men to not feel like, to not bow down to what society feel like we have to look like. Like society feel like you have to be a certain color, or you have to be a certain size, or you have to wear all these pounds of makeup and all these pounds of weave, and making you feel like you're not enough. Like I say, I'm not against that, because I like looking nice. I like wearing makeup. I like doing things. But at the end of the day, I know that I am enough. I know that without this or without any of all of this, I don't have to have that. I know that I'm wonderfully and fearfully made, no matter what society thinks, because a lot of us females, we tend to go after, we tend to feel like we need men for validation. But the reason you can't always depend on that, because like I was saying in my last video, the devil know your weaknesses. The devil uses anybody. He could easily use a young man to make you feel like you're not beautiful, just to get you where he wants to get you, just to make you fall into a deep depression or deep anxiety or a deep feel about yourself. And you don't want to ever get to that point. And in this book I'm reading from and I'm ministering from, that's basically what they was doing to Paul. They was making Paul feel like his self-image and the way he looked and the way he carried himself wasn't in, like it wasn't supposed to be like that. But because Paul overcame that and had a strong mind and knew that his purpose was to serve the Lord, he overcame that and he let that bring him down. He knew that that's how you're feeling now, but at the end of the day, it's not you I'm trying to please. It's not society I'm trying to please. It's not the world I'm trying to please. It's not man I'm trying to please. It's God I'm trying to please. And so the world gravitates to things in a different way. Like, for example, people tend to run on how success look like. Everybody runs to success. Nothing is wrong with being successful. Not saying that God cannot bless you with success, but at the same time, what you have to realize is success is not where everything is at, because a lot of times you don't know what those people are doing behind closed doors to get that success. That's why you have to just get things the old-fashioned way, which is more like being patient, working hard, staying consistent at what you're doing, praying, fasting, because that's what I do. I do fast, doing things the old-fashioned way, the right way to get to where you need to get. And whatever is for you is going to come to you. But know that faith without work is dead. That's also in the word. So as I come to you today, I come to tell you, you can't go off what the world thinks of you. You can't go off what society expect you to be or what society expect you to look like, because everybody's life is different. Everybody reach certain points at different ages. They got, like, for example, I use Tyler Perry, for example. A lot of us know his story. He was poor. He was living in a car. He's from New Orleans, and he didn't get his fame and his fortune really until like in his late 30s, early 40s. And I say that, my people, because they got a lot of young girls my age or younger that, feel like I'm not where I should be. I'm not where I want to be. I'm not where I'm supposed to be. All I tell you is keep your eye on God. Keep your focus on God. Do what you need to do for yourself. Faith without work is dead, and God is going to get you to where he needs to get you. And that's what what I'm kind of preaching on today. And I wrote a couple of things down as I studied the word. I wrote a couple of things down. And basically, this is what, now I'm going to come out of this other scripture that's going to add to what I just read. This one says, "For although we are in the flesh, we do not battle according to the flesh. For the weapons of our battle are not of flesh, but are enormously powerful, capable in destroying fortresses. We destroy arguments and every pretension raising itself against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive in obedience to Christ. And we are ready to punish every disobedience once your obedience is complete." So where this says, what this scripture specifically means is that the type of weapons we use to fight our battles is not the correct way, but the spiritual battles is the correct way. So I'm going to give you an example of worldly weapons, the weapons that we use, but we're not supposed to use, but we think that's in, we think that's popping, but we all live and learn. We all got to get mature at some point. Worldly weapons. One is manipulation. Basically, when you're trying to get, whether it's a friend, whether it's an enemy, whether it's somebody that you're dating, you're trying to get them to do what you want them to do in your own way. You're trying to get them to possibly feel guilty by putting certain words on them, or trying to seduce your way into whatever it is that you're trying to get out of them, whether you're doing it out of revenge or if you're doing it just to be able to have drama, whether in their life or your life. That's manipulation. 2, image of success. Like I was saying a couple of minutes ago, everybody feel like success is what I should go after. Success is what's in. Success is supposed to look a certain way. Success is this. And not necessarily. You could be an influencer in the most positive ways and you don't have to have that much success. Like I said, God is not against success. He could bless you with success, but success is not always where it's at, because a lot of times it's a look, but you don't know what it is that she are doing behind closed doors to reach that success. So that's why you're never supposed to compare yourself to the next person. That's also in the word. The next one is smooth words, charming, how we like to call it, running game, or I got that mouthpiece or whatever to basically get what you want out of that